Welcome to Passages, the podcast where life gets deep, friendship gets real, and the wisdom of the Bible flows, usually right after a debate about tacos and Bigfoot. Join Patrick Birch, Drew Kaiser, Jason Pulliam, and Tim Layton as they explore Scripture, share great quotes, and occasionally get sidetracked by snacks and bad preachers.
Welcome. You're listening to Passages. We got all four guys here tonight. We're looking forward to going over some life experiences and eventually meandering our way to a passage. Got some exciting things planned for this evening, so we appreciate you joining us. How are you guys doing?
Doing great.
Sleepy.
Right. Glad to be here. All right, we're going to take care of that.
It's not good that
just a few minutes.
It's 8:46 and I'm already sleepy.
We're going to take care of that. Our goal is going to be to see if maybe we don't make it to 10:30 tonight. So
I want to get done before 10:30.
The wheels started coming off at 10:30 last week. So.
That thermostat up there says 72, but it feels about 87 in here. Drew, can you help us with that?
Hey, I want to, before you start, I do want to say major props to the air conditioning people that fixed the air in the auditorium today. I had a bit of the vapors on Sunday, and
it was hot.
I don't know how Drew kept his coat on the entire service. I was impressed.
And as always, to Terry Turner.
Yes.
Props to Terry Oglesby as well. But to Terry Turner, because, it has been a stinker of a year here at Asheville Road for air conditioning.
Yeah.
Yep.
And he has been on the ball.
Like when I opened the door, about the time you were finishing announcements tonight to walk in, and I felt the cool rush of air, I thought, hallelujah. I even brought a fan with me just in case.
There was a hidden message there,
yeah,
right?
There was.
Yeah.
Hey, one other big piece of news. Do you guys know what tonight is?
Wednesday.
July the 2nd.
The 75th episode of Passages.
Oh,
right.
Wow. Man, we're getting close to 100.
100.
Hey, you want another interesting tidbit about today?
Yeah.
As of today, we are closer to the year 2050 than we are to the year 2000.
Yep, I heard that. This is the midpoint of the year, right? Exact middle day of the year.
We're off one, right? So in between 6:30 and 7:01, I guess would be I don't know.
Yeah.
Don't make me math it up, but I trusted the meme.
Yeah.
Now, does that count the leap years as well?
Sure.
Okay.
Whatever you say.
Yeah, I think it counts the leap. This is like the exact midpoint day between the two.
So that'd be another 25 years. Yeah. Are we still doing the podcast in 25 years?
Absolutely.
Yeah. This thing's got longevity,
Patrick,
Jason.
you'll be doing it all by yourself, bud.
Oh, man.
No, you guys got 25 left.
And before we start a new segment, Celebrity Birthdays, here's another interesting tidbit about yesterday. And I hope on any of these 75 episodes I've not shared this. Do you know what July 1st is? It's an official day. Do you know what day it is? No. If you're a baseball fan, you might know what it is.
Oh, it's Bobby Bonilla Day.
Bobby Bonilla Day.
Oh, yeah, I do know that.
Do you know what Bobby Bonilla Day is?
No.
In the 2010 timeframe, Bobby Bonilla was playing for the Mets, and the Mets were buying out his contract. And so they could have either paid him right at $6 million to buy him out, but instead, and I'll get to the reason for the instead in just a second, they decided to defer, and Bobby Bonilla agreed to defer. He gets a payment every July 1st from 2011 to 2035 for a little over $1 million.
It's like $1.19 million, I think.
You math that up. That's a lot of ongoing, so.
Sounds bigger than the $6 million buyout he had.
Right. Now, if the $6 million, maybe starts multiplying and all that, maybe it's different, but still that every year,
mailbox money,
here comes the check for not playing for the Mets again. And another little interesting tidbit around that is he also got bought out by the Orioles. Mm-hmm. And he gets a check for them as well. This guy is like the smartest guy in the world.
Sitting on the couch for about 20 years collecting checks.
This is like an insurance
for
scam,
not
but for
playing
buyouts.
Yeah. So the last part of that is the reason behind the Mets making that deal was that they wanted all the money they had right there because they had this great deal going with a guy named Bernie Madoff.
No. Are you serious?
And they were dumping a bunch of money to old Bernie for some guaranteed big return. Oh. And of course he was.
Where's Bernie now?
I think he's in the pokey.
I think he's in prison.
So he was a hedge fund guy, right? And a lot of fraud there. And
a little unscrupulous, I believe.
Yeah. All right. I'm going to start us off tonight. I guess I did already. Maybe that was my segment.
No. You're just getting warmed up.
It was a nice segue into your segment.
All right. So was watching a little TV this week and started musing about how much I love game shows. Mm-hmm. Just one of my favorite things on TV, right? A good game show is
what's your favorite?
Is a lot of fun. Show? Millie and I were talking about this over the course of this week, and there's some classics, but for a point in time, I don't think you could beat Who Wants to Be a Millionaire when it was in its heyday. And, it was on 2 or 3 nights
Regis Philbin was the host. Is that right?
Right. I mean, it was strong. I think we have talked on this podcast about the guy that first got to win the million, who did the great thing where he said, I want to phone a friend, and he tells his dad, I'm about to win $1 million. And that's the end of it, because that guy was good. He knew his stuff. So I want to just mention, so we can talk about, some of the memorable ones, but I started thinking about like TV that really sticks in my mind, and an awful lot of it is game shows, be it like Jeopardy. And, I remember back the first run of Jeopardy, and it was gone for quite some time before Alex Trebek brought it back, and then it just exploded after that. Wheel of Fortune, Family Feud. I mean, there are just some staples.
How do you feel about Wheel of Fortune without
Pat Sajak?
I haven't really watched it very much.
You even had to think about that name, Patrick. I'm disappointed.
Well, I was I had Pat in my head, but I was trying to make sure that was right. But it's, I can't even think of the guy's name now.
American Idol guy.
Yeah.
Ryan
Seacrest.
Yeah.
I haven't.
Yeah, I really haven't. I think I've seen it, like as I'm, scrolling through channels or whatever, but I really haven't watched him. So, but I was thinking, musing back to the days of old, right? And thinking about the early days of Wheel of Fortune, when at the end of a round, they didn't just give you the money, you went shopping. And I don't know if you guys remember that or not. I think I looked it up a couple of weeks ago, and like in '86, they stopped that, and they wanted to move the show along. They didn't want, because it took time to go back in the back, so they turned the studio thing around, and then there'd be like 3 or 4 different sections, sort of like on The Price is Right, where they would have those different showcases or whatever. And you'd go shopping in this area, and everything had a price on it. And however much money you won that round, you got to go, purchase that money. And then at the end of it, they would say, well, do you want this in an account or on a gift certificate? I don't even remember what that was all about. But the interesting part around that was one of the most famous gifts that they had in that whole Wheel of Fortune thing was this giant ceramic Dalmatian. And, he was like, it would always get down to the fact of you didn't have money to buy anything else. So I was watching this YouTube video, and there's all kinds of funny stuff in relation to this. But one of them was, I would like the TV VCR combination for $875, right? I mean, this was early days of that technology, and that stuff cost some stuff, right? And so, and then I want this, piece of jewelry, and I want this, and I'll take the ceramic Dalmatian for $135. And, because it's the last thing they could buy with what they had won. I always loved when they went shopping. So there were always fun things like that. One of my favorite things about old game shows were the lovely parting gifts. And I don't know if you guys remember that or not, but often in a game show, in really, old ones, like concentration or, old Jeopardy. The people who didn't win the jackpot or whatever for the game, they'd come on after after a commercial and they'd say, our runner up in today's, our runners up will receive these lovely parting gifts. And one of them was always Rice-A-Roni, the San Francisco treat, or turtle wax.
I do remember that. Turtle wax
was a big one. I kept doing searches to try to figure out what other ones were. Those were the ones that stuck in my brain, because it was always Rice-A-Roni, the San Francisco.
What they were.
Right. And so I guess you got a box of Rice-A-Roni or, a crate of it or something.
Lifetime supply.
Right, delivered to your house. And then the last thing that was sort of I think it still applies today, were the announcers on these game shows. So there were some really famous announcers particularly on game shows, maybe the 70s, 80s, 90s, maybe some still today. But I was thinking about Don Pardo. Don Pardo was I think he was on Jeopardy. Johnny Olson was the guy who said, "Come on down" on The Price is Right.
Yeah. The guy they have doing Price is Right now, not
Johnny Olson,
not him,
right? Yeah,
nope.
Exactly. And so, there were a lot of those guys that were, because they were mentioned on these game shows every day, Johnny Gilbert, Roddy, and a lot of those guys were sort of household names, but you didn't know what they looked like. I mean, they would flash up to them every now and then.
They were in that little booth way up in the top.
Way up in the top, right? And so, that was really cool. So I've been trying to look for new game shows that are interesting. And I've got a couple for you, and then I'm done. There is one that I'm really interested in called The Floor.
Mm-hmm.
Have you seen The Floor?
Yeah, I was.
Is it where it drops?
No,
no.
I was actually going to use it as an example of. I feel like in some ways, some of these shows are getting more complicated, and so I spend more time analyzing how the game works than just watching the game. But anyway, go on.
So here's the premise of The Floor a little bit. Not really though. So the game starts, and I want to say there's like 100 people on squares on this floor, and that group of people and that floor represents the whole season of the game. So each one of them comes with a specialty, with an area of some kind of knowledge that is their specialty, right? So
it'll be something like, I know acronyms.
Right.
Or I know vegetables.
Right. Exactly.
Or plants, something like that.
Just all kinds of genres. There's 100 of those, right?
Taylor Swift songs.
Taylor Swift songs. I know.
Eyeballs.
Exactly.
Jason.
Cartoon characters. I mean, it's anything. You can come with anything.
But the idea behind it is it's got to be something that can be visually presented.
Yeah.
Because what they do is, they have the first two people come up, and the part of this that I don't really get is the process of whose subject they necessarily go with, but it has to do with they go back down to the floor, and so here's the idea. If I beat Patrick, who's right next to him, I inherit his square.
Yeah. You can challenge anybody who borders your square.
Mm-hmm.
And when you challenge them, you take their subject.
Right.
So if my stuff is cars and yours is acronyms and you challenge me, now they're going to show us pictures of cars and we're going to say Honda Civic or Pacer.
And we go back and forth. Yeah. And we go back and forth, and we do this for a period of
it's like 30 seconds.
30 seconds or a minute. And at the end of it, the one who got the most right wins. Now, if I challenged Patrick and I beat him, my specialty, when I decide I'm ready to go back to the floor, I don't want to challenge anybody else right now because there's all this strategy in it, is his specialty. My specialty is not acronyms anymore. It's
not
cars.
Both. It's only the one.
Only the one that I inherited.
Yep. Okay.
And the whole idea of this game is that you try to be the last person who has won all the space. And so there's a trick to, what do you have around you that you know something about?
Mm-hmm.
Hey, those folks may really think they know about it, but I do too. And so I can beat them at their game. And then if you can get something really obscure that people are scared to challenge you on, you can sit out there a long time. And the fact that, Joe Bob out there has 80 squares, when he finally has to come get you, if you can beat him, you have 81 squares.
That one's interesting too, because in the very beginning, they air quote randomly select the first person, and that person gets to choose from 4 people to challenge because it's only who borders you. But as the game goes on, and it's almost like you gerrymander across this board. You can challenge now half the board if you've got that much space.
Yeah, that's right. So it's a good game. Millie and I've enjoyed it. The other one is one that I only caught a little bit of. I think it was on Amazon Prime for a season, and it's moved to Fox, and it's called The 1%. And the whole premise of this game is it begins with a large group of people. I don't know if it's 100, but it's like they do everything in one night. And so they start with this group and they ask them a question that like 90% of people answer correct. So it starts with a real easy question. I only saw the last 2 or 3 questions, and it really interested me because they were mathing. They were doing some like math word problems and stuff. And they were like, hey, 10% of the people could answer this question. And so it narrows that group down all the way down to where there's like a jackpot that the people that get like the 5% question, and then they have to say, am I going to take this money or am I going to go for the 1%? And that 1% fooled everybody in the house, and they all went home without anything in the episode that I watched, including me. I had no clue of, I mean, it was tough, and they had like a minute to try to decode this.
I saw one 1% question that stuck with me. Let me type something out real quick so I can say this out loud. So it was 5 sets of letters, 2 letters, 2 letters, 2 letters, 2 letters, and they wanted to know what was the next in the series or pattern, and the letters were something like O-N. Tim's going to write this down and see if he can get it. O-N, U-E, E-D, H-U, R-I. What's the next? And then what's the next thing? And you get one. It's a 1 minute countdown. Need a Jeopardy sound effect.
There used to be one on there.
Is there still?
I'm not seeing it right off the bat. Jason, you getting it? You see it?
It's CL.
What is it?
CL.
How'd you do it?
I'm just a genius.
So
is he right?
No,
he
doesn't know either.
So the next in the series is AT.
Oh,
and why?
Did you hear what I said?
Did it spell it
what
out?
Did you say?
AT.
We'll go back and listen to that. We'll do a replay.
I was just throwing out 2 letters. I figured he would.
So it's the second and third letters of the days of the week. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday.
And the 1% question that I saw was very similar to it. Here it was, and we'll be done. So it was like, it was numbers written out, 10, 11, 12. And it said, now we're going to tell you the number values associated with each one of these. 10 is 14 and 11 is 20 and 12 has a value of 35. And they said, now, what is the value associated with 13? Go. And the whole premise was, they said like every vowel gets 1 point and every consonant gets 2 points. And it's like, how in the world, how in this round world can you come up with that?
So
how in a round world are you going to accomplish that goal?
Exactly.
I know you explained it. I must have checked out on this one. What does 1%, what does that mean?
So it all comes down to the last question is a question that only 1% of the people they expose this question to could answer it in this time frame, I assume.
Yeah, so it represents difficulty.
So they're telling people, hey, you can go home
it's
with
your Elon Musk level.
Yeah.
Knowledge.
They're saying you can go home with $2,000 because you answered that 5% question. Or the 3 of you guys that have made it this far, if you'll try that 1% question, you can split or take home $100,000. And so the one I saw, they were all feeling good about themselves because they had answered all these questions all night. And then it was like,
seems like one of them would have had the intelligence to say a bird in hand is better than two in the bush. Tim.
That's right.
Hey, once I watched that episode, I was like, that 1%, I think I'll pass on that one.
Mm-hmm.
All right, that's it for me. Drew, over to you.
Well, I was gonna mention it. I don't watch many game shows, but I did catch Beast Games on Amazon, which I don't know if that qualifies.
Never even heard of
Mr.
that.
Beast.
You've heard of Mr. Beast?
No.
He has a YouTube channel, very popular, very
Most
rich
popular YouTuber out there.
I have no clue who he is.
We had an
worth
episode
millions.
on this.
I still never
Beast
looked him
Games. So when you're talking about the floor, that's what made me think of it, because I think the first episode, there was a floor, and he started with 1,000 contestants, and they were each standing on a square, and there was some kind of contest, and they kept. Every square had a trap door.
Mm-hmm.
And if you answered wrong, the trap door opened and you fell, and it looked like you fell a long ways.
To your death.
And it was just, it was a surprise every time.
Mm-hmm.
But it was a lot of stunts. I don't know if you count that as a game show per se.
The best
Big
game
sets.
show I have ever seen was Wheel of Fish. It was on a UHF channel many, many years ago. Cooney, the martial arts instructor, ran it, and you would spin a wheel of fish and you would win whatever fish it landed on, or you could have what was in the box that they were bringing down the aisle.
What's in the box?
Nothing.
World, are you going to accomplish that?
What is this?
This is Jason's obligatory reference to the movie UHF.
Let's play the game. We start with yesterday's winner, Miss Phyllis Weaver.
This is like a weird Price is Right. Here's the... What fish is she going to win?
Red snapper. Very tasty.
We don't need the playback.
That's right.
Jason can just reenact it for us.
please.
Red snapper. It's very tasty.
Oh, sorry. I have to reference that movie. We have got to keep the memory of Weird Al's greatest movie,
Brother Weird Al.
alive.
It's
and
one of
that
the
is one of my tasks.
part of the
in
mission
life.
of the Passages podcast.
or at least me.
It's from 1989. Okay, that's from way back.
I own two
Way
copies of it just in case one ever
Just
gets
in case
corrupted.
one gets messed up, one's a backup.
That's the only reason he still has a VCR.
No, I have it on DVD, man.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
I upgraded.
Well, we're coming to our audience with this miracle of modern technology called the podcast, which we stream online. And all of our kids just take that for granted. The other day, well, it was several days ago, Eli noticed the CD books that you used to make
Yep.
for sermon duplicates. And then Tim and I had a conversation about this a while back. And I said, I want to bring this up on the podcast. I was just thinking about how much things have changed for people to get online sermons, for example. And Patrick, you know better than anybody. And I was just going through all the different iterations of media that we used. And if you walk it backwards, it goes kind of like this. Online streaming. Did we ever have a downloadable?
Yeah.
So we did it. You download your MP3 kind of thing.
Yeah, before.
So that came before
video.
streaming.
Yeah, before video, we would record so that I could put it on CDs for people who didn't use the internet, but I would put them online. And you could either click play or you could click download.
Okay. And that was on our website, or was that
On a
through
website.
Apple?
It was
website.
just an audio
Podcast.
file, though.
Yeah,
right?
just an
Okay,
audio
just
file.
audio file. And then before that was DVDs. Before that were CDs. This is where I'll slow down a little bit. So we had a sign up list in the back. And just think about all the steps you had to go through to acquire a copy of a sermon. You had to go sign up for a CD, and Patrick would take that, and he had a CD duplicator that would do 2 at a time,
something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, and it would etch.
It was nice though, because I could just say, "Hey, I want 10 of these," and I could go home.
Could walk away, and it would burn.
And then when
CDs.
I came back on, so I'd do that on say Sunday. I'd collect the previous week's requests. On Sunday, I would set them to burning. I'd come back on Wednesday and put them in their little sleeves.
Yeah, and it had this neat tool that would etch the name of the sermon and our logo on the front.
So
I still have a lot of those.
It did work on both sides, right? I mean, it did recording on one side.
Yeah, and then it was an inkjet printer
on the other side.
Yeah, it was pretty neat. Did you ever sell that, or is it here somewhere? Threw it away.
And the most famous version of the use of that inkjet to me was when our kids did the VBS songs.
Yes, right? I still have a copy of that.
Because it had a picture of like the whole group on the front.
Yeah.
It was really cool.
VBS
I
greatest
that a
hits.
lot.
What year was that?
That we recorded that?
It wasn't as long ago as you might think.
I mean, all of our kids, I think, were involved in it.
Yeah. I feel
so
like
I would
that's
say
10
probably
years
10
ago.
years. Yeah.
Yeah, it was definitely before 2018.
Okay.
Mm.
I remember that because that's when we remodeled the
2018 was the
we
remodel.
remodeled.
Yeah.
That's when I stopped making CDs.
Okay.
Because everything got torn down. The control room was empty because it was all in the back. And when I put everything back up, there was 2 people that requested CDs, and I just kind of told them, "Hey, you got to go online now."
But Patrick would make these really elaborate CD books.
They were
for our
like
special days,
box sets, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
box sets for spring series and gospel meetings, and they have a nice illustration on the front and the back. You could turn it over and see all the lessons on the back, and it was all nice and neat. And I would imagine before the multiple CD burner, you had a single CD burner. I doubt you ever did it just in the computer CD drive.
I think the first iteration of that, before making sort of box sets and mass producing them, I think I would burn them in the computer and I would print in the copier a label.
It was a stick-on
and it was
label.
the stick-on label that you put on that little applicator where you put the label upside down, and it had this little squishy thing where you set the CD on and you push the CD down and it applied the label into the center and evenly.
Yeah.
But that didn't last long. I think
that was very work intensive.
Yeah.
And then before that, there were the cassette tapes.
Yeah, I never dealt with cassette tapes.
That was before you.
Yeah.
We had I remember an older woman would take the machine home. It was a machine that I think you could just do one tape at a time. You would put their master on one side.
Yeah. But it had like 6 slots or something.
Did it have 6?
I'm thinking.
Okay.
I'm thinking back now, when I started coming here in 04, 05, maybe somewhere in there. Dennis Lyons was kind of the control room guy. And when I started working in the control room, we would start the recording on a cassette tape.
Yeah.
Now, what happened to it after that, I wasn't involved in. I just remember
you were recording it.
Yeah, I remember getting the tape out. There was like a whole stack of blank ones and putting it in, and then you'd have to write on the label, and you have to flip it over. So you do class on one side, sermon on the other, and then
and a big problem were the guys that preach too long.
Yep, run out of tape.
You run out of tape. The tapes would do maximum 75 minutes, or am I thinking of a CD?
Probably the tapes were either 60 or 90 or something like that, which is total both sides, right? I mean, famous. I mean,
I was going to say a full cassette, 12 songs, 11 songs was front and back. So
so I think you could buy 90 minutes. I think 45 minutes aside was the most we could get, because I have a Wendell Winkler tape. He preached here right before I started, and it was like a sermon about getting ready for your new preacher. And it was so long that whoever's recording had to flip the tape over real quick, and you missed a little part of it.
I remember
And-
that very well because that was a day. So he preached the sermon and then he said, if I might have a few more minutes of your time, right? And
it's like 12:30.
and that's when he, but it was,
But
I
it was
remember,
him, so-
I remember it 25 years later.
Yeah.
I mean, it was phenomenal. And basically he, everybody sat down and he talked about how you need to treat your new preacher. And it was just gold. I mean, it was so good.
I remember Ray Marsh after that, and I came in, and Ray Marsh goes, "You got a friend in Wendell Winkler." 'Cause he set me up for success, according to Ray.
But before you go back before cassette tapes, so
I can't go back before that.
Oh, was that the
that's what we were
earliest?
doing?
Okay.
Right there.
Yeah, that's
What else
they
is
were
there?
having to put the needle in the wax.
We had people memorize
Reel to
the
reel.
sermon and go to the houses of
And-
shut-ins and repeat it.
Repeat it. So I'm just doing a little
Cliff Notes version.
Yeah.
doing a little walk down memory lane here. So we started at Asheville Road recording via MP3 on September 30th, 2007. And since then, we have recorded 3,495 lessons. That'll include classes, sermons.
Wow.
3,495.
Now there's
How
actually,
do you have that information? How do you?
because I'm looking at the
It's
folder that they're
Patrick
all in.
Birch.
It's in my head. I memorize these things.
Well, I'm
He's the
surprised
closest
that
thing to living AI that we have.
So you have every lesson we
Chat
ever
Patrick.
had here,
Yeah.
pretty much
So once
going
we-
back to 2007,
yes.
and it's about 3,500 lessons.
Well, it's actually more than that because when we started doing YouTube streaming, we don't always catch an MP3. So between MP3s and what's online, there's more than 3,500 lessons that we've recorded here. And you were talking about Ray Marsh. He actually was the very first thing I ever recorded, Sunday morning class.
Can we hear just a little? Ray?
I got to hear
Yeah.
a little of it. I haven't heard Ray's voice in a long time.
Just a sec.
I hope it's something funny.
Time for us to begin.
Hold on. Let me start that over because that's.
It's time for us to begin.
What's he doing?
He lowered his voice and said it slower.
That was not a glitch. that was
You hear a
saying it
baby,
twice.
you hear a baby crying in there too. He might have been.
Well, that's never stopped.
It's time for us to begin. Time for us to begin.
Oh, he's trying to get people to
be
calm
quiet.
down.
Yeah.
Lord knows.
I don't know. It's
Of course, Drew's gone today, and he's down in Summerdale, and he concluded his lesson last week, and he asked me would I fill in again for him, and of course I was glad to do that.
he can be all serious.
If you will, turn to the 1 Corinthian letter
Yeah, he's
Good old
he's
Ray.
serious,
and
Ray.
the 12th chapter.
He's not goofing off at this point. Have to get to the end of it when he's telling his jokes.
Still with the
I
baby
can
in
still hear the
background.
background.
Talking
going
about
crazy.
Paul
What year
quite
was
a
this?
bit, and
07.
The
That's
writings
probably
that
Taylor.
he had in.
It probably is.
We're still going to talk about the writings of Paul this morning.
So he
Wow.
That's good to
he
hear
said
that
you-
voice.
He said you were not here, Barton. I was trying to think why Barton would have been. He's the one with the two lessons for the day,
Okay.
and I mean, it makes sense in my head that it's because you were probably somewhere, and
Mhm.
obviously you were because he mentioned it.
Yeah.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
That
That
is
was a
good.
blast from that. It was good to hear old Ray's voice again.
This was the start of the quarter. You taught a series on Wednesday nights called Early Church History.
Is that what Ray was filling in for me?
No,
He's doing First
that was your
Corinthians,
Wednesday
right?
class.
That's the
Ray-
Wednesday class.
This one is just labeled Sunday morning class. So this was before I got real on the title train of I need your title.
I remember those
either-
Wednesday night lessons on early church history.
Actually, you know what that might be? It might be I didn't want to go talk to Ray. And So I
well,
just
you
called
didn't
it
like
Sunday
that Ray
morning class.
made you put his mic on for him.
That was
That's
always a
also
little
true.
awkward.
He wanted you to put it
would-
on his belt buckle.
He'd walk in with his stretchy pants on, and he'd put his thumbs down in his
I was like, belt
down in his
buckle?
waistband,
No
and
way.
he'd pull it out and say, "Can you clip that right there for me?"
Yeah,
And he would
I'd always
stand,
watch
he would
you do
stand
it.
there until I did it.
Oh, man.
that's
I
awesome.
miss him a lot.
That is a great memory.
Yeah.
Thanks for playing that.
You remember that they could never duplicate the tapes during services because they sounded like this.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It was high speed. This is very advanced technology in those days.
Yeah, it,
Very
it didn't
advanced.
have to be real time. It was
Right.
doing it faster
Yeah,
than real time.
Do it double time. But man, it would take forever. But we'd have people fill out requests for tapes and CDs, and there were some times where on the table there'd just be it'd be full of. Sometimes we were doing both tapes and CDs.
Right.
It seems like we did that for a little while.
And
There's always a point where Patrick just says, "No more."
yeah. But of
We are
course, like,
evolving.
when Patrick was doing it, you didn't do this, but, you'd have, a backlog of requests that would get worked, and then we'd make an announcement. Hey, all the recordings, for the last, 2 months are back there, come and get them or whatever.
I'm glad we don't have to do that anymore. However, somebody came up to me the other day and said, we got the same problem every church has. On Sunday nights, a lot of people don't come back. And I got to thinking about the things we used to do to try to get people to come back on Sunday nights. One of the things that you always try to work into the announcements is tonight the lesson's going to be fill in the blank, and we'd try to come up with a title, and you'd even do like a little summary. You'd ask me to give you a little summary of what I'm going to do, and just a teaser, so that. But I got to thinking, I mean, if somebody didn't want to come, they could get the lesson because it's Facebook, YouTube, Apple Podcasts. You can get them anywhere.
Right.
So, you'd have to throw, if you're really trying to boost your Sunday evening attendance, you're going to have to do something that you can't do online.
Yeah. I think you have to talk
Fellowship.
about the fellowship.
And make that.
So if I'm not here on Sunday nights, I can get the lessons.
But you
didn't know that?
fellowship,
You didn't know?
brother.
The fraternizing, Jason. That's what you miss out on.
I
The
like
fraternizing.
the fraternizing.
You were talking
The
about
fellowship. Fellowship sounds so
you
much
missed
better.
the
Fellowship.
reason that we're in this room right now.
that
we
is
get
true.
to hang out.
you were talking about sometimes Patrick just says no more.
Yeah.
I think I'm about there with Facebook.
Yeah.
2 reasons. One, they now will not keep our recordings longer than 30 days. So if you go to Facebook,
That's
our
no time.
entire backlog has been removed. And 2, almost every service, someone watching at home will say, so-and-so's here, or so-and-so's watching.
Mm-hmm.
And then almost immediately a fake profile will reply to them with some scammy
Really?
something. I've had ones that
Greetings, brother. I'm watching as well. Send me money.
something like that. Yeah, I'm from some other country and
Yeah.
we're doing good work, but we need money. Or my favorite ones are the romance scammers,
Mhm.
where they pretend to be. Oftentimes, it's something dumb like a high-ranking general in the military.
Why do you think high-ranking generals are dumb, Patrick?
I think it's dumb for them to pretend to be
that. Okay.
like if you're going to pretend to be somebody, why don't you pretend to be someone that I can't
I
go
get what you're
Google
saying.
and look up,
I
right?
get what you're saying.
And they'll basically try to trick some of our older ladies who might be at home watching into, hey, I'm looking for companionship and all this, and then eventually they just fall for it and take their money. So I'm about done with Facebook because
that is the scams are a problem on
Yes.
Facebook.
And if you can
our
get to
viewership's
Facebook,
really coming to YouTube. Right?
you can get to
is
the
it-
YouTube
I mean, you can get to YouTube or our website
or the website.
arcoc.com. I haven't looked at stats in a long time. I think a lot of the older folks watch on Facebook because it's just what they know.
Mhm.
But we do get people from YouTube. It's just less scammy on YouTube because it's not like like it's not a social media platform where you expect people to talk to each other.
Right.
They can leave comments, but it's not for them to converse with another person.
And you can keep your archive.
For now. I mean, who knows when YouTube will come and say no more, but see, that's kind of YouTube's mission is to, I guess, archive all the video ever. So surely they won't do that.
Because we don't have the video saved, right? We don't have the capacity to do that.
We lost a fair amount on Facebook because I mean it was thousands of videos. I couldn't go download them all. They didn't give me a way when they announced it. They didn't. They said, "Hey, you can download your videos," but they didn't give you a way to get all of them. And I mean, I just sit there and click download, you know.
But we still have the COVID era.
Yes, no, that's stuff
live
on
streams.
YouTube. Yeah, because
I don't want to lose those.
No, we got those. We started on Facebook so long ago, and so some of our original before we had, you know, a camera that was mounted and somebody was just standing there with a tripod. We some of those were on Facebook. But
when we talked about VBS last week, we didn't talk about virtual VBS.
How did we miss that?
Right. And we had fun doing virtual VBS.
I mean, Hunter's floating head character.
Floating head of Kennemer, absolutely.
The green screen technology.
Green screen. And, you know, we somehow had a way, because we streamed it live, right? I mean, we didn't record it and post it. We streamed it live, and like we would get to the point where we did these packets, right, of stuff that the kids could
people
get.
can come by and pick up their packet.
We talked about this on the podcast. I feel
no,
like
we haven't. No.
Okay.
No.
And so they would
had
come,
a craft in it and everything.
It had a craft in it. It had memory work in it. And somehow we did like some kind of question that we would do. And maybe it went with, because we would record the skit, but Patrick would include it in the live stream. Dude's a genius.
Yeah.
And so, you know, then we'd come back to the live part and we'd do songs and stuff. And then we'd have the kids call in. And, you know.
Oh, yeah.
And then the kids started
to answer the question or whatever.
Kids started like posting videos of them watching it and stuff, you know. And I mean, we even had some other kids in the community because nobody was doing VBS that year. And we were like, we're not taking this line down, you know. And we were able to do it because we had done so much virtually around our worship services. And so we were able to leverage all of that capability. And we just had to sort of figure out, how do we do VBS stuff, right? And so, you know, we can stand up there and do songs and, you know, but how can we make it as VBS-like as we can? And there were these pictures, you know, so there'd be, you know, 3 or 4 kids in a family and they'd be watching the TV. And I mean, it was awesome. It was just a great memory.
And you can still find those on YouTube.
Still on YouTube.
Chat PAT, what do you have for us tonight?
Y'all,
Jason's really liking his new nickname for Patrick.
It's been a little bit of a rough week in the Birch household.
You've been playing single parent this weekend.
Amy took a little vacation that she fully deserved and went to the beach with some friends, girls trip. And the kids are old enough to stay by themselves. That's not a problem. So I've been going to work, no problem. And you know, I leave them a little list of things to do the dishes, fold the laundry, whatever, just to keep them doing something that's not staring at their phone the whole day. And, you know, Kinley can drive, so go grab lunch or get Belle to practice or whatever. But over the last couple of weeks, well, let me back up for some history. Belle, my youngest, has had some immune system issues throughout her life. And one of them hospitalized her about 10 years ago or so. And she's just always been a little weird. She went through, her immune system has always been a little weird. She's not weird. She went through a phase where she just had fevers like clockwork every 6 weeks. And they were pretty high fevers and never could figure it out. And that went on for a while. And then they just stopped one day. So just weird immune system things. So we've got another weird immune system thing of Belle. And her body is acting like it is reacting to allergic is having allergic reactions like an ant bite or some other kind of insect bite. And she'll come out of her room. She's been in her room for most of the day. And she'll come out of her room and one of her fingers is like double the size it is normally. And she's not a big person. Like she's a compact girl. And so when she comes out and like her ring finger is double its size and she can't bend it, it's a little concerning. And so we've torn her room apart looking for bugs, bed bugs, other kind of bugs. We've checked her for ticks. It's been this whole thing. So we've been going to the doctor and they're treating her for high histamine. I don't know. It's like her body's just like, oh, let's make all the histamine a normal human being makes in a lifetime in like these 2 weeks. Mm-hmm. So she's on some antihistamines. We're waiting on an appointment with an allergist, which the earliest one they could get us in is April right now. So we're working on finding another allergist that can see, an emergent problem a little sooner than 9 months from when we started this. But so Amy's gone this week. I come home from work, we do dinner, we watch a movie or something, we go to bed. So I'm 2:30 in the morning, Tuesday morning. I hear my door open and, that startles me a little bit, but then it's Belle. She's come into the room and she's upset. And she says, and I say, hey, what's going on? And she says, my lips are swollen. And I'm like, okay, so with all the other swelling, like, okay, well, let's take a look. Let's just see what's going on. Just trying to calm her down a little bit. So we go to the kitchen, turn the lights on and, bright light, you've been asleep, bright lights. Like I'm not focusing right away. And when I do focus, her lips are swollen. I mean, they are.
We can vouch. During the pre-show, we saw very,
very swollen, like scary swollen.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And so my immediate thought was airway. Is her throat about to close up? Because if it is, I don't know what I'm going to do because we've never needed an EpiPen before. Don't have one. Don't even know if that would work on whatever this is. If her throat closes up, things like CPR don't work. If I got to call 911, who knows how long it's going to take for them to get here? Do I put her in the car, run her 10 minutes down 119 to the freestanding ER right by 280? Yeah. Do I get her to Children's? What am I going to do? So I start running through this checklist that I just ran through with you, a little calmer with her, and like, hey, are you having trouble breathing? Can you take a deep breath for me? Things like this. I'm trying to be rational about this before I have a total
poker face on when you saw those lips.
Yes.
You were able to,
and were you talking to her calmly?
Yes,
because you had to be careful not to scare her anymore than she was already scared.
Correct. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I don't know if she had gone to the bathroom and looked yet or not at them because she was
clearly she had to. For
she
what
was
we
a little
saw in
more
the picture,
calm.
She had to be able to feel something is messed up.
They were very sore feeling because anytime anything swells, you add the pain of this is larger than it's supposed to be because it's stretching skin and tissues, full of fluid or whatever. So after I kind of figure out that so far this is just related to the lips, I ask her, hey, you're going to sleep, in Amy's bed, in Amy's side of the bed tonight for the rest of the night, because I want to hear if you start wheezing. I want to hear if you start coughing or have a problem. So, we go through the night. I don't sleep much. I'm constantly turning on the flashlight, making sure I can see your chest rise and fall.
Mm-hmm.
This is scary.
Yeah,
that's awful.
So I get up I get up later that morning and call the pediatrician. Now, doctors get a bad rap because what happens when you normally go to a doctor and you sit in the reception area?
Reception area, very good, Patrick.
You wait a while. Not at Lee's Family Eye Care. They're very, very efficient.
You enjoy the reception area.
You enjoy the reception area.
Not waiting.
Reception for a while.
That's right. But
you're received for a while.
At a doctor's office, a lot of times it's a waiting room, right? You sit for 30 minutes past your appointment time sometimes. Mm-hmm. So just props for Peds East. They're attached to Children's, and her doctor and this whole staff were awesome, because Amy had been messaging with them the night before about some other reaction. The lips hadn't done this thing yet. So I call them at 8:00 on the dot, and I have to get through their little phone tree. You got to listen to it. If this is a medical emergency, hang up and dial 911. Our hours. If you're a pharmacy, press this number. If you're looking to talk to a nurse, press this one. For appointments and whatever, press this number. So I hit that number. Somebody answers pretty quick, and I explain what's going on. And she says, well, what kind of appointment do you want? I said, well, what's the soonest you've got? She says, it's like 8:00. She says 8:15. I said, well, I can't physically get there. I can be there in like 25 minutes. She goes, I got one at 9:30. I was like, I'll take it. So I get Belle up. We get down there. We show up at about 9. I get there a little early because I'm expecting a wait. And I go in, and there's no one in the waiting room. This place is so calm. There's no sick kids, no crying, nothing. Just maybe like one family sitting over there waiting, for on the well side, because they split the waiting room into sick and well. And I check in. The lady, I fill out some paperwork with the front desk lady, and one of the things the pediatrician offers is you can wait in your car. It's still a COVID holdover, but they're still doing it. But I said, hey, Belle's a little embarrassed. We're going to wait in the car. And she goes, oh yeah, y'all wait in the car. Because at this point, I think everyone knew what was coming in. I don't know how, but everyone acted like they knew me. And I've probably been in this doctor's office once, because Amy usually takes them. So I finished checking in. I give the front desk lady my number, get to the car. And as soon as I shut the door, my phone rings. And it's the nurse saying, hey, we're ready for you. Come on in, and I'll meet you at this door. I was like, okay, what's going on? Like, that's fast. Mm-hmm. So they put us in a room. Doctor comes in, we chat for a little while, and just an overall good visit. Belle gets a steroid shot. 4 hours later, she's mostly back to normal. And she's called in an EpiPen because I was freaking out about the airway. And she's called in a round of steroids to try to handle the symptoms while we wait for an allergist. And so props to them. It was the smoothest doctor visit I've ever had. The doctor did tell me, it made me feel so much better. She said the lips can do this for 3 reasons. And it makes it really hard to diagnose what's going on because they're attached to 3 systems of the body. 1 is the skin, 2 is the airway, and 3 is the digestive tract. And any one of those 3 can cause whatever is going to happen, can cause it in the mouth and in the lips. And so she said, because everything else about what's happening is skin related, this is, a very nearly 0% chance to affect her airway. So I felt a lot better about that. But when you get an EpiPen, first of all, they give you 2, because if one doesn't work in like 5 to 15 minutes, you can pop another one if like your airway's closed up and you're waiting for help. Can
you stop right there?
Yeah.
So an EpiPen is just 1 dose. Is that what?
Just okay. It's a single dose. When you stab yourself with it, it auto deploys. Right. You hold it on while it dispenses, and then that thing, you throw the pen away. It's done.
Somehow I had like rescue inhaler in mind where it has a certain number of one and done.
But one of the things that they give you is a trainer EpiPen, and you can reset the trainer. Mm-hmm. So when you deploy a one with medicine in it, it's one and done, and you don't ever use it again. But the trainer you can put back together. And so Belle and I were practicing how fast we were timing each other. How fast can you get it stabbed into your leg or whatever? Not actually stab you, but it clicks like it does. So anyway, that's been our week. It was pretty scary. Wow. And
I'm familiar with the EpiPen world. We carry one for Sam. Yeah. So
we carry one for Jackson.
Wow. We never had to use it.
Yeah.
Thank goodness.
I hope
we haven't used ours either.
Ours is shellfish. Well, I hope we don't ever use it.
Yeah. Hope they find the source.
If we can ever get to an allergist or an immunologist, I guess.
Immunology, allergist out there, we know you're listening. If you could find an opening before April, we'd appreciate it.
And you'll get a special mention on Passages.
Yeah, that's right.
Free adverts.
Yep.
That's right.
So, guys, I want to bring up a little controversial topic.
Lay it on us.
And it's really not controversial, but I read an article today that concerned me a little bit. What's y'all's thoughts on taking a nap? are y'all nap people? So
that is a good question.
I'll rat myself out. If I can get a good nap, I will take a good nap. But this is what I mean by a good nap. A 30-minute nap just angers me because I don't get into a deep level of sleep. It just drives. Now, at work, if I prop up at lunch and close my eyes for 20 minutes, it doesn't anger me. But like on a Sunday afternoon or a Saturday, you've been working out in the yard, you come in, shower, it's like, I'll lay down for a minute. 30 minutes is just enough to make me mad.
Yeah.
I like to get down into your underwear, get in the bed, snuggle up in the covers, maybe or maybe not put your CPAP on, and take a 2 or 3 hour nap.
Now, this is a difference. I never go back to bed. So my nap may typically would involve accidentally falling to sleep.
Yeah.
In
but
the
you're in like a
recliner,
chair. Yeah.
right? But I never.
I call that dozing, not napping.
I never go back to bed.
Like I get back in the bed if I'm taking a nap. Drew?
If I do what you described, I wake up groggy, cranky, sick to my stomach, and I can't sleep that night.
Okay.
So I've learned that if I want to do that, I doze sitting up.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And I don't feel bad afterwards if I do it that way.
I do the recliner and I'll put something on the TV that I don't care to actually watch.
Like a NASCAR race.
For the background, the background noise. I've never tried.
What is the best trigger for a nap?
NASCAR.
NASCAR's
still.
good. Golf is good.
Golf is a good one.
Right. Anything that whir of NASCAR is like white noise. It's like
And
go to sleep.
Yeah.
And then if you're really lucky, you hear a crash. Or you hear, they'll ramp it up a little bit right
down to the
end. Yeah, white
down
flag.
Yeah. Well, the reason I bring this up today is I found an article. This came out this week. It says afternoon napping could have surprising impact on longevity. A new study linking daytime napping to increased mortality rates in older adults may have some rethinking that midday snooze. See, I picture retirement one day, me getting a good nap every day between 12 and 2.
So it's saying lunch. Naps are detrimental to your health?
The study presented last month at Sleep 2025, the 39th annual meeting of the Associated Professional Sleep Societies in Seattle, Washington. Doesn't that sound like a bunch of fun people?
Oh boy.
Yeah. Woo! Found that frequent, longer, and irregular daytime naps, especially in the early afternoon, were linked to a higher risk of death over an 8-year period. So, guys, when we talked about, are we going to see 2050? My nap schedule says the odds are stacked against me.
Hold on, though. As a medical professional, an OD, right?
Yes.
A doctor. You have gone and gotten
a doctorate. Yes.
Dr. Pullum.
Okay.
I feel like we've got to talk a little bit about causation or causality versus correlation here.
Yeah.
Because is it that older people nap more and then everyone dies? Or is it that the naps caused the death?
Well, I'm glad you asked.
Okay. Is that next?
So napping, and I'm going off study because this is boring, but this was a study that included 86,565 participants. So it's a big study.
It's a lot of naps.
And they all died?
Average 63 years of age. Well, maybe not all yet.
Okay.
But all do.
We do know that Father Time is undefeated.
It is undefeated.
Yeah.
Well, except for
but what they were saying, they defined daytime napping as between 7 a.m. and 7 p.m., which I think is fair. I mean, that is
daytime.
That's daytime. It makes sense to me. So 6% of them died during that 8 years where they kept tabs on them.
6%?
Which sounds like
That's
a low
pretty
percentage. Low. Yeah, I was surprised. But I think compared to people that were not napping, it was a statistical significance.
What was the number in the study?
86,000 roughly, 86,565.
It's an oddly specific number.
Yeah, and then 5,189 of them died during that 8-year period.
So 5,200 people died, but they were going to die anyway.
Exactly. But they said that research showed that taking longer naps and napping between 11 and 1 p.m., so we're getting into, or 1 p.m. and 3 p.m., which is Sunday afternoon church now, because you get home from eating a meal and you get down in your grippies and you get under the covers and take a nap.
If you go to a restaurant, it's more like 2 to 4.
Well, it depends on which restaurant and how local and
get you
how
in,
much
get
you
you
stand
out.
around and talk.
Right.
Was associated with a higher mortality rate. So I'm afraid that I am sleeping myself into the grave with naps. Now, is that going to stop me? No.
I think it's correlation, because I think the things that cause you to want to take a nap are the things that are killing you.
Yeah.
Jason mentioned that big meal.
Yep.
Yeah.
Big meal, lack of exercise, not sleeping well at night.
Now I feel like I'm being shamed.
So
Poor health. Low energy gives you low energy and
insulin spike or something.
That's why the correlation in this was said that exactly what you just said. The problems that cause you to nap are probably more of the problem than the nap. So you're not sleeping well at night.
Yeah.
Or you have sleep apnea and you're not treated for it.
Now, I heard you mention 3 characteristics here that were problems. And so I want to lay out, is maybe you're 12 to 2 every day okay? Because I heard you say frequent, longer, and irregular. Now, you got frequent and you got longer.
But they're regular.
But they're regular.
They are regular.
So
That's
does
right.
that make it better?
Now, I suffer from sleep apnea, which I admit anyone that goes and has a sleep study done will ultimately suffer with sleep apnea. I think it's I may need to put on the tinfoil
There's
hat
causation
for this.
for you.
It's also probably they make the mattresses that make you just snore.
I think so.
I'm with you on this one.
I think
You put it on, they immediately take it off and
I'm
say,
telling you.
you stopped breathing
I'm telling you,
782 times.
when you go for a sleep study and they have
they sound just like that.
Just like that.
7 or 8 leads stuck to you, all these wires coming
Why
off
is this
of you.
hillbilly doing my sleep study?
And they're like, go to sleep so we can watch you. I'm like, I'm not going to sleep well. But anyway, so I have sleep apnea. And what sent me to do that is I would wake up every morning feeling like I had not slept. I was miserable. And at lunch every day, I was falling asleep. And this was when I was younger. Now I fall asleep at lunch every day because I'm older and I just need a little bit of a nap. But that made a difference in my need for naps. And I can go most of the week without them. There's something about the tradition of the Sunday afternoon nap. It's somewhere, I think it's somewhere in Second Opinions where it talks about the fact that you should take a nap. But I am just going to say, if I don't see 2050, napping could be a potential cause. It's not the Baconator I had Tuesday night for dinner.
I believe
it's probably the nap.
I believe Second Opinion said, of thrice hours thou shalt sleep.
Not 4, nay, not 2.
I
that would be right off.
I had a sort of freak out moment like this a while back because there was a study that said if you use deodorant with aluminum, whatever the aluminum chemical is that that physically plugs your sweat pores, that's how the antiperspirant works, presents a higher risk of Alzheimer's. And I have some Alzheimer's in my family. And so
what were you talking about?
Right, exactly. And so I freaked out because I'm like, oh no, am I now making this worse on myself? Because who knows, one of these days y'all might have to diagnose me on this podcast. But that's where I got into this whole correlation versus causation, because did just people with Alzheimer's use deodorant, or was the deodorant causing, and that's what the studies don't really, I don't think they really tell you.
I'll tell you what aluminum also does. It makes you not stink.
Yes. Right. Because you don't sweat as much.
Yeah.
I'm afraid my deodorant.
That's why we're using it.
I'm afraid
it may be worth the risk.
My deodorant antiperspirant does have aluminum, zirconium, pentachlorohydroxyl.
Yeah.
Tim will vouch for this. Study the number of cases of Alzheimer's in Russia. And if they are lower, then you've proven your case, because they don't use deodorant.
Oh, that's good.
That's this reminds me of my trip to
Europe in general.
My trip to India where I worked with a group of people for a couple of weeks, and they were wonderful people, but they did not share.
It was like
our bathing habits.
It was like being in a room with Matthew McConaughey
or our deodorant habits.
Yeah.
And I think I've told y'all somewhere in the past that I really wanted to call a team meeting on Friday and tell them, to close their eyes and raise their hands. And I had a special gift for them and just right down the line, take the old roll on. Zip, 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 zip.
Okay.
Wow. Because they were kicking by the end of the week.
So there may be something to this, Drew. If you can believe worldlifeexpectancy.com. So let's just be clear that
I think that you can.
It sounds reputable.
It sounds very credible.
According to this, Finland has the highest rate of Alzheimer's and dementia. The United States is number 8 on this list, but Russia is 134 on this list.
Well, it proves it. Benadryl is linked to it as well.
I think you just blew the roof off this case that deodorant is extremely dangerous to your neurological system.
One day I'm going to go through the list of all the things that shorten life expectancy, and I'm going to start checking them by see how many years, just so I'll know how much longer I have. I'm thinking it's like 5.
That
4.
That was for Alzheimer's or life expectancy?
2.
That was for
1.
Alzheimer's.
See, can you do a similar list for life expectancy? Because we got to test this. How long do people live in Russia?
Okay.
If they don't live very long,
depends on if they're in Ukraine right now or not.
All right. So this is list of countries by life expectancy. It's on Wikipedia.
Okay.
So
trustworthy.
Very, very good source.
I love it.
So Hong Kong is
PAT questions.
Hong Kong is number 1 with 85 on average 85.51 years.
Wow. That is that's the average.
Mm-hmm. Russia is 119 at 73.15 years.
That's lower than US.
The world average, just all humans, 73.17.
Where's the US?
So they're right at the average.
Right. They're right at the average. The United States is number 55 at 70.3 years.
So
as of 2023.
So we live,
we're not living, Russia's beating us on longevity?
No. We are beating them on longevity.
Well, you said 70 for us and 73 for them, though.
Yeah.
Right?
No, the average age that life expectancy in Russia is 73 years, and for us it is. Let me get back to it. 78 and a half years.
78.
I heard 70. That's what threw me off.
Yeah.
Well, that makes sense.
Yeah. So I don't think we've proven anything.
But
USA.
It's all the vodka. It kills them before the Alzheimer's can.
Tell you one thing you and I have proven. If we ever have 6 months to live, we could go to Russia. It'd seem like 10 years.
That's true. That's a good point. It's like dog years.
Yeah. So the moral here is you guys that don't nap, you'll be doing this podcast long after I'm gone.
Keep not napping.
We shall see. All right.
Well, we got a bad preacher coming up, so take a break and we'll be back with that.
I want to wake up and never drown in an ocean of love and joy and peace and everything up above the sky. It's the highest high that you'll ever find. I want to be different. I want to be different. I want to be different just like everyone else.
So here's what happened. For you listeners, it's been about 5 to 10 seconds, but over here in the Passages studio, it's been about 30 minutes since we turned the mics off and took our break. And 30 minutes ago, I was planning on doing a bad preacher segment, but we've eaten up all our time. So we'll save that for some other time.
Let's just say we were busy solving world problems.
Yep.
We were talking about some issues, involving our kids and other things that we can't really air out on the passage. It'd be good. It'd be very entertaining.
Oh, if the mics had been running for the last 30 minutes, it would have been our number one episode.
Maybe in episode like 475, we can come back and revisit some of these stories. When the kids are older, they're not,
Yeah.
We can't air out all their personal stuff, our personal stuff right now, but we can look back in hindsight when we're wealthy from this podcast and they're enjoying being the children of multimillionaires.
The fruits of that wealth.
I'm pretty sure the naps are going to take me out before we hit that point.
Yeah, Jason's now worried about naps.
I am.
You know what you can do is quit taking naps. It's like smoking cigarettes.
You know, I can't argue with your
Are
logic.
naps the new cigarettes?
I sure hope not.
I've heard people say sitting is the new smoking.
Yeah.
No, it's a little different.
Well, that's why I use this standing desk when we're doing the podcast.
Yeah. Yeah. When we reconfigure this room for video, it's all going to be standing.
Or one of those big balls that you sit on.
Yeah.
The exercise balls.
Tighten your core.
Balls.
Yeah.
We do have a passage.
Before I say this, Patrick, do you have a standing desk at work?
I do.
Never mind.
So you're not going to say that all guys with standing desks are goobers?
Yeah.
You're not going to say that.
It would just be impossible to walk beside a guy at work with a standing desk and not just go dork.
So
I'm sure it's good for you and will increase your life, and you're much more productive than me.
Yeah. But see, I use it when someone's going to stand at my desk with me and look at something on the computer. I don't just stand up
all day or anything.
Yeah, no.
Okay. All right. Good. I feel better.
No. Don't you have to rock your head back really far though when you're sitting in your chair? How do you reach the keyboard? Or does it lower?
Well, it's called a standing desk. Oh, okay. Keyword standing.
He has fake arms.
Yeah.
One of those little grabber things. Look like dinosaurs on the end.
Much slower when I have to do this.
That video right now.
And folks, this is why these things last till almost 11 o'clock every Wednesday night. Because this happens off air. Yeah. All right,
so
guys.
we do have a passage, and we decided it would be nice to play some of these. And this one is a poem, very well-known poem, that we want to talk about briefly. We'll see how that goes.
47 minutes later.
So,
we're still introducing it.
Yep.
It's the poem is called "If" by Rudyard Kipling, and Patrick's got it queued up, so we'll let him play it as read by Michael Caine, I believe.
Sir Michael Caine.
Sir Michael Caine.
Yeah.
If you can keep your head when all about you are losing theirs and blaming it on you, if you can trust yourself when all men doubt you, but make allowances for their doubting too, if you can wait and not be tired by waiting, or being lied about, don't deal in lies, or being hated, don't give way to hating, and yet don't look too good nor look too wise. If you can dream and not make dreams your master, if you can think and not make thoughts your aim, if you can meet with triumph and disaster and treat those two impostors just the same, if you can hear the truth you've spoken twisted by knaves to make a trap for fools, or watch the things you gave your life for broken, and stoop and build them up with worn-out tools, if you can make one heap of all your winnings and risk it on one turn of pitch and toss, and lose and start again at the beginning, and never breathe a word about your loss, if you can force your heart and nerve and sinew to serve your turn long after they are done, and so hold on when there is nothing in you except the will which says to them, hold on. If you can talk with crowds and keep your virtue, or walk with kings nor lose the common touch, if neither foes nor loving friends can hurt you, if all men count with you, but none too much, if you can fill the unforgiving minute with 40 seconds worth of distance run, yours is the earth and everything that's in it, and which is more, you'll be a man, my son.
Okay, let's get it out of the way that there are some errors in that delivery.
Some variations.
So,
a few ad-libs, if you will.
So he was reading from a really old-looking book, and I wonder if there's an addition problem, because he said if you can fill the unforgiving minute with 40 seconds worth of a run, but everything I have found, and this is when everybody looked up, it's if you can fill the unforgiving minute with 60 seconds worth of distance run.
Which would make sense
But-
because a minute is
60
Yeah, last time I checked, I guess. Well, we don't
There were
need to
two or
spend all
three-
our time.
Two or three other spots.
There was somewhere
too.
it looked like he
Yeah.
just skipped some words, and,
Right,
and maybe it's an old edition, and there were some typos in it. You know,
Yeah, it was a really old looking book. He was in this video that
and
we
maybe
played from.
maybe he should come see me and get his eyes checked.
Maybe.
he just can't
Maybe
read.
he had handwritten it out and made a mistake or two when he described it in that book.
I think all of us have. Well, Jason, you said
I
you
don't
hadn't
think
heard this.
I don't think so.
a
Maybe
lot
I
of us have had
dozed
experience with
during
this,
this.
poem. My dad had this. I think he had it copied by a calligrapher and framed it and put it on in my bedroom when I was a kid.
When in 10th grade English, Irene E. Hunter's class at Munford High School, I was sitting here thinking, did we have to quote? We quoted this and several other poems, which I think there's some value to that. I mean, I think
So
that's
the
not-
whole
not necessarily-
poem.
Yeah, that's the part I was trying to figure out.
Mm.
Was it all 4 verses? But you know, the last verse, you know, is "in which is more you'll be a man, my son," sticks out. I'm thinking that we might have had to quote all 4 verses. Now, whether we had to do it in one standing or not, maybe we could, you know, do a verse and come back a little later, and you just had to get all 4. I don't remember, but I think we might have had to.
Well,
do
you
this
have to
whole
go to
poem.
the end because the whole thing is like one sentence.
Right.
You know, if
Right.
then
Yep.
you don't get to the
There's
end
a lot
part
of
till the very end.
semicolons.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So one critical remark, a question: is he suggesting gambling is a part of a man's life? As long as you don't
I think
get
he's-
upset about losing,
I think he's talking about taking risks, not actually
Yeah.
gambling.
the pitch and toss.
That's the way I read it.
When I first heard that, I
Yeah.
thought he said the pigeon toss, like the bird.
It'd be a
And then-
fun game.
Not read it when I first heard it, and then when I read it, I was like, "Wait, he said pigeon,"
Pitch and
Yeah.
toss.
and then it's just
It's only fun if you break their wings, because if you toss one that's wings are normal,
They just fly
they
off.
just
Yeah.
fly
Right,
off.
right.
Yeah. I mean, let's just be honest.
Yeah.
That's not,
I'm with you, Jason. I think that section
I think it's just talking about
is
taking risks.
taking big risks, and if you fail, you get up and no self pity. You just get up and go again.
Don't
I mean,
look back. Don't dwell on it. Just keep
Yeah.
moving forward.
You know, the most famous part of this passage and probably most quoted is the beginning, right? Where it talks about keeping your head when all of those are, everyone about you is, basically losing it,
Mhm.
right? And I think those first 4 lines are really powerful,
Mhm.
starting with that. And then if you can trust yourself when all men doubt you, but make allowance for their doubting too, it's okay. I mean, we can all sort of hold it together pretty well if there's some folks out there who aren't with me, but if everybody's not with you, can you sort of hold on to it? It takes a lot of, internal fortitude to be able to sort of hold to your position, and you start doubting yourself by nature,
Yeah.
right? It feels like everybody's looking at this a different way than I am. What's up with that?
Mhm.
Am I really seeing this right? Could everybody have a different position about this than me?
Yeah.
That's
Well,
that's an
I
interesting
like
concept.
I like the make allowance for their doubting in that. Could I? You're
could
saying
be
it?
wrong.
Could I be
You're
wrong?
inviting input.
yeah.
Right.
You're not just shutting everybody out.
Not looking for just yes men.
Yeah.
To me, it's a lot about moderation, humility. Just integrity is in this one. I mean, there's a lot of really good things.
There's
If I ever read this before, I don't recall.
I'd never heard it before. Sir Kane read it to me.
I wonder if this poem has fallen on hard times. It's very popular when I was coming up, and I assume all the years prior to. But now that masculinity is frowned upon, and the word patriarchy is a bad word, and people are confusing gender roles and refusing to believe in gender roles, this whole thing is about being a man. And it's about traditional masculine qualities that we're told should not be exclusive to men. Courage, leadership, the ability to stand alone, when you have to. I would imagine that this is not a politically correct poem anymore.
No.
Yeah.
I tell you, my favorite section of the whole thing is where he says, if you can dream and not make dreams your master, if you can think and not make thoughts your aim, if you can meet with triumph and disaster and treat those two imposters just the same. And he goes on that whole section, but I like that idea of be one that dreams, but don't chase. Don't make the dreams your
Don't
master.
have your head in the clouds all the time.
Don't be chasing these ridiculous dreams, but dream. And if you can think, sometimes we use our thoughts as they're just the gospel truth. And he's saying, if you can think, but not make thoughts your aim, don't just
overanalyze everything.
Yeah, that's right. Just use your brain for what it's there for.
I think my favorite part is the last line, I guess, of that section you're talking about. He says, or watch the things you gave your life to broken and stoop and build them up with worn out tools. Yeah. Where he's saying, the stuff you work so hard for in life, when I don't know, life tears it down and it just, it's flat, you built something and it's just flattened. Like, stand back up, have the strength to rebuild it, even if you're rebuilding from scratch, and do it even if you're exhausted.
And
don't quit.
Don't quit.
And use the tools that you already have used. Because if you've already built it, you've got everything you need to build it again. You have the tools. They may be worn out, but you've got them.
Yep.
And that same stanza, going back to something Jason mentioned, I'd never noticed this before, even though I've read through the poem many times. But referring to triumph and disaster as imposters, that's really good.
Great line.
And triumph and disaster, if you're just listening, you don't know, they're capitalized, like they're personified. And you really do need to look at that. We've talked about this concept on the podcast before. We were talking about hard truths. One of the hard truths is no win is complete. That's your triumph. Don't be fooled by thinking that once I get that trophy, I'm going to be happy. Or the same mistake is, if I fail, that's going to be the end of my life. No, it's not about the wins and the losses. It's about the life. It's about the journey, not the destination.
Well, and both
this side of eternity.
And both of those things are equally, I think I'm fair in saying this, equally as fleeting. You're going to win some, you're going to lose some. And
you won the award tonight. You're going to wake up tomorrow.
Yeah.
And it's going to be over.
Yeah.
What's next?
Yeah. Don't let your highs be too high and your lows be too low.
Yeah.
Right. If, whatever the triumphs are, keep them in perspective.
And then into that last section where he talks about, if you walk with kings nor lose the common touch, or if you can talk with crowds and keep your virtue, or walk with kings nor lose the common touch, if neither foes nor loving friends can hurt you, if all men count with you but none too much. It's all about kind of being confident in yourself, being sure of who you are, not being, I don't know, I love that, if neither foes nor loving friends can hurt you.
There's some humility in that.
There is.
Walk with kings, but don't lose the common touch.
Right. Yeah.
And it corresponds to that very first line, right? Which is like, if you want to deal with, it's all about all the different ways we can deal with people, right?
Mm-hmm.
If we can talk with crowds and keep our virtue, right? Do we stand for what we believe in when we, when there's a group around, and, when you're in, special company or whatever, can you
stay humble?
Walk in those ways and stay humble, right?
Yeah. Tonight in class, we were talking about the Sermon on the Mount and the Beatitudes. Blessed are the meek, for they shall inherit the earth. I see a reflection of that in this reward he's promising his son. Yours is the earth and everything that's in it. People puzzle over that beatitude. Blessed are the meek, for they shall inherit the earth. I'm not going to go over all the wild theories that people propose to that, but I think he's got a pretty good grasp of the meaning there. The world is your oyster, whatever that means. You're going to lead a full life. I think that's the interpretation of that. Yours is the earth. But he's definitely inspired by the Beatitudes there at the end. Yours is the earth and everything that's in it.
It's got a little of what you kind of tell your kids, like you can do anything you want to do if you put your mind to it. Mm-hmm. The world and everything, or the earth and everything that's in it, is yours. If
it'll open up to you.
If you do all the things up above, the opportunities open up to you.
And I feel a lot of it talks about just inner security. Like you are secure in who you are, where you are, and not letting yourself be defined by either your triumphs, your failures, the people around you, but being or having integrity in who you are, no matter what's going on around you.
But letting that security, I mean, it says so many things because there's so many different ways to look at life, I mean, so many perspectives to look at it from. And it's like, be secure, but be humble.
That's right.
But be this, but be that. Treat others the way you want to be treated. But be secure and, stand up for what you believe in. There's so many ways to look at this. And he does, there's so much packed into 4 stanzas here.
Well, and I think, the most masculine thing about the poem is the speaker, because he's being very fatherly here and giving this wise advice that he's learned the hard way, probably, and he's passing it on to his son. And the action of a father passing this advice onto his son in such a beautiful way and a loving way is probably the most masculine thing about the poem.
It reads a ton like Proverbs, where Solomon is writing or David is writing and leaving thoughts and things for whoever is to come after. I don't know. That's what I thought as I was reading. Yeah.
I was going to give a little context, but you kind of did it, Drew. It was Rudyard did write it for his son, who died in World War I. So I'm assuming his son read it, but it was intended to pass along advice and life experience to John.
Wish I could sit down and just write something out like that. Leave a little note for the kids that is that deep and well done.
And then 115 years later, people are still talking about it.
Yeah,
it'd be a pretty.
I'm sure this poem went through many revisions.
Oh, I'm sure.
Rudyard Kipling. I believe he was of Indian descent, but he was British because Great Britain controlled India back at that time, and he wrote. Most famously, the Jungle Book, right? I think.
Yep.
That's right.
That's correct.
Pretty successful author.
And the second Jungle Book.
Oh, we all know the second Jungle Book.
Well, the first one was good, so he had to go for the sequel.
Yeah, he was born in Bombay, which is in India, but British India. So
And I could be wrong about him being of Indian descent.
Mumbai.
Maybe. He may have been English, but his parents were on assignment in Bombay. Maybe that's it. It probably would help if we did a little prep work before the podcast and not just rely on what we think we heard one time.
But then we would lose the authenticity that we bring. Yeah. Maybe I should have paid attention. Yeah, actually, I think I dropped English literature.
It sounds like it. If you've never heard this poem before, you probably dropped.
I walked in and the guy teaching English literature looked like Mr. Burns from The Simpsons. And And I was like, I got to get out of here.
Excellent.
Smithers.
We got him somewhere on the soundboard too. Too bad.
Mr. Burns?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
We need to get you a bigger soundboard.
I need
I see all the
I really do need a bigger soundboard because I can see 8 at a time and the writing is so small.
We're slumming it.
And then we also some of them I think aren't named what we call them.
Right.
When we go worldwide,
it's not Mr. Burns, it's very good indeed or
very nice indeed.
There it is.
Yeah.
When we haven't used it.
When we go worldwide, we're getting you one of those minority report boards where you're sliding the words off the screen.
Yes.
I'll reach my full
but we're only at episode 75 right now. Yeah. So we're talking about episode 120s where we start having a soundboard big enough to do that kind of thing. So how do we get there? Well, we get there through ratings and reviews and word of mouth, which is going to require the help of our passengers. So if you're listening and you enjoy this, spread the word, let people know. Also, if you have an allergist that you'd like to pass on.
We need one. Maybe we could do a call-in consultation.
We have several doctors who listen to the program.
We do.
Yeah.
A friend of mine, a pediatrician, has just started listening.
Oh, perfect.
That's awesome.
He may have some advice.
Yeah.
We'll see. I don't know how far he has to get to catch up to episode 75. So may not hear from him until you've already had your appointment.
In April, I remember some of our earlier episodes. I might start at 75 and work my way backwards if I'm starting.
Yeah, that's good advice. Yeah. We appreciate everybody who's listening, and we look forward to being with you next time on Passages.
Follow us on Instagram at passages_podcast and join us next time on Passages.